Welcome back, everyone. So, someone brand new is making their guest appearance on the show today, and thankfully for you guys, they're a lot easier on the eye than even myself, Danny, or indeed Richard. It's a very, very warm welcome to the lovely Leilani Dowding. So, Leilani, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. Before we go any further, I suppose that, look, the majority of my viewers are going to be aware of you. They're going to know who you are. But for the few that don't, just give us a brief rundown of what you do, who you are, usual stuff.
Gosh, I don't even know where to start. I don't know how I got this voice on Twitter, but I got chucked off Instagram back in 2021 for complaining about lockdowns and the government. Doesn't matter which side you're on, it's all the same, really. So I got chucked off, went onto Twitter, got invited onto a couple of shows on GB News, Dan Wootton's, Mark Stein's, Nigel Farage's, because I'd done some TV beforehand. Probably most recently, it was a reality show, which is a little embarrassing, The Housewives of Cheshire. Awful. And before that, I was modelling. Back when I was 25 years ago, I was modelling, so a few people know me from that. Moved to America for about 15, 20 years. And when I came back, I did this reality show. And then because I kind of had a platform, I got into a lot of trouble 2020 time on Instagram and with the papers and what have you for speaking out against that.
A lot of people kind of took off after lockdown or during lockdown, didn't they?
Yeah. I think it was the people that were the centers, the ones that didn't really want to follow the narrative or question the narrative. They were the people that got in trouble, I think. And it kind of meshed a lot of people from all kinds of walks of life together and made people question a lot of things that have been going on.
Yeah. Where did you live in America?
Los Angeles.
Did you like it? I mean, 15 years, you must have liked it.
Well, when I first went there, I think I was about 23 and I got off the plane, saw the palm trees and the sunshine. And I was like, I'm never going to leave this place. I'll never, ever, ever leave. I bought a horse there 10 years later and my mum started crying. She's like, you're not going to leave, are you? Roll on another 5 to 7 years. I just got sick of it. I didn't like the lifestyle. I found it very toxic. People didn't settle down. And I just wanted to come back to my roots, back to my family. I missed the British banter, not realizing that a lot of it had gone, actually. By the time I got home, everything had become Americanized, where you lost all the banter and you can't, everything's all PC again. So
they don't get it, do they? The Americans, they don't get banter, do they? They don't.
No banter, no sarcasm. And unfortunately, there's a few people now, well, not us lot, but there's a few people now that just get so overly sensitive with banter and sarcasm and just, playing around. So, yeah.
I see you've got your MAGA hat on there. Obviously, you'll be supporting Donald Trump. The question I've got for you, and I wish I had one because I'll be wearing it today as well. Good luck to the Don next week. Of the American people, and I've got a lot of American viewers along that watch my channel, what lesson can they take from the mistake of voter apathy, I think, that we made earlier this year, which has led to the rotten government that we've got right now?
Yeah, you're right. I think it was voter apathy because at the end of the day, when you work it out, only 1 in 5 people in this country voted for Keir Starmer, and he got into power because people didn't turn up. So it's the most important thing, I think, to get out there and vote and make sure the Democrats aren't running America and therefore running the entire West, really, or they're globalist backers that kind of dictate what's going on. So get out there and vote. And I am actually an American citizen.
So can you vote?
I can. I did. Yeah.
Brilliant. I mean, it's important that, I mean, look, our American cousins, and, we go back a long way, obviously. It's very important, I feel, that they take a very close look at the freedoms that are being taken away from us almost on a daily basis here in the UK.
Yeah.
by a government that is not too dissimilar to what Harris would deliver out in America. Please don't make the same mistake, guys. Don't make the
Absolutely.
same mistake.
Absolutely. I mean, you can see them already talking about the amount of censorship they want. And we've seen that here with the insane amount of censorship that's going on. Censorship in the media, censorship in the alternative media space, censorship with, real journalists, not these like talking heads that we see on, the BBC and Sky, real journalists that try and go out there and try and get information and speak to people and find the whistleblowers. And we see that those are the people now that are getting censored, getting locked up. And we see it with protesters, people that are against our government's narrative. You see them going to jail for, social media posts. So it's so important more than ever to get out there and vote and not let what happened in England happen over there.
Absolutely. What did you make of the recent events? I mean, look, we've said this 1,000 times before, but we'll say it again for clarity. Nobody supports violent rioters, people that went out attacking people with racial motivations, people that went out looting. Forget them. They are where they deserve to be, as far as I'm concerned. But the honest, ordinary, caring, loving parents and grandparents, Leilani, I could have been one of those people very easily.
Same.
Very easily.
Same.
What do you make of them being incarcerated? I mean, they are in jail, rotting away. They will not be home with their families for Christmas. And one of them, God rest his soul, is now dead. It's outrageous.
I am still in shock, and I'm fine. It's so hard to take in what they've done because, as you said, so the people that actually, looted and burnt things, forget about them. But it's the people that made social media posts or just out there with a placard. There's Peter Lynch, who obviously has died now. They say suicide. He had a lot of people coming to him in jail, and he should never have been there. And what did we see him do? Walk up to police in their riot gear and say, I'm praying for the children. I'm praying for the children. I'm praying for the children. He held a placard saying how corrupt the MPs, the police, and the justice system is. Well, he's shown that to be true. That is true. He held that. He didn't punch anyone. He didn't throw anything. And there are numerous people like him that have been locked up for 2+ years, for just social media posts and, protesting, but without violence. And it's so wrong. And then the worst thing about it is you see this very same judges that gave them 2+ years have let pedophiles with child rape photos go free on suspended sentences. And when you see that and you see this two-tier system, it's so infuriating. And you know what? It's been done on purpose to send a message to us to say that we have to shut up. We must be silent. Don't speak up. But we should not. We always have to fight. And when you watch how it's played out now, that anyone that questioned anything about the religion of the Southport killer, they were called racist. People backtracked from talking and asking questions because they saw those people being jailed. And then what happens? We find out that he had an Al-Qaeda handbook, that he was making ricin, that he is obviously an extremist. But, what happens to these people now that question that and ask questions and are so angry and frustrated at our government lying to them?
Laura, I was at the event last Saturday, and it's amazing. I mean, I made a video last week saying that the women are the backbone of this movement. And I stick by that because I went to last Saturday's event, which was a wonderful event. No arrest, no trouble. It was like a family celebration. And the amount of women there, probably at least 50%. And I take this because there's nothing stronger than the bond between a mother and her children. And every single one of the girls that I meet, they say to me, Paul, this is for our kids. We love our children. We just want our children to be safe. My wife says that she feels like she's living in a bad dream, that she's going to wake up one day and all this didn't happen. And a lot of women are saying exactly the same thing. If this country cannot protect our women and our children, where are we at? What have we come to?
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? It is. When I've been to one of Tommy's rallies, and I went to the one prior, it was peaceful. I felt safe. I never feel safe in London. I'm always like looking over my shoulder, like, am I going to get mugged? Is my phone going to get stolen? Is my handbag going to get nicked? I walked through London with the march, and I felt really safe, knowing I was around really good people. And as you said, it was fully peaceful, and there were loads of women, and I know a lot of women that went to this last one as well, because it is important for our kids. You know, I don't have children, but I have a little niece. She's 6 years old. I don't want to see anything happen to her. I want her to be able to grow up in a country like I grew up when I was like 17, 18, 19, and I felt safe on the, you know, walking along the street, not, you know, on a park bench to have some illegal, you know, you saw what happened with that poor woman who died because an illegal, I don't even want to mention what he did to her while she was on. And you know, we don't want that kind of thing.
When did it become a crime? When did it become a crime to be worried about our girls?
That's the thing, and it's so crazy. And I'm going to forget his name now, but there's a really important trial going on in America right now with that guy who stopped the man on the tube who was abusing people and was known to abuse people. And because he died, well, he was, you know, had him in a chokehold, protecting other tube users from this crazy guy. He's now going through a trial in America. And I think the thing is I talk about America a lot, but you see what happens there come over here and trickle through. So it used to be very slowly, but now it seems to be really picking up pace. And hopefully his name will come back to me. But, you know, he is on trial right now. And this is a really important case because we're seeing that our men can't even protect us, because as soon as they try and protect us, they get locked up. As soon as they try and protest for us, as soon as they try and find out the truth and expose the truth for us, they get locked up. So,
and it is our basic instinct. You know, as a father of 2 daughters and 4 granddaughters, and obviously my wife as well, you know, that is the most basic instinct that is inside me. I could not take that away, even if I tried.
And that's the thing, and it's so important to have men like this. But then, you know, you see there'll be a lot of men that shy away from it because they are scared of the repercussions of stepping in and helping anyone that they see in danger. And that's the really sad thing that's going on with the society right now. You know, it's, you know, putting them away, making them out to be the bad people.
It's shocking. I just want to take you to Tommy's jailing this week. Obviously, I guess you've kept up with events. What do you make of firstly him being sent to prison in the first place, and secondly the treatment that he seems to be receiving since he's been there?
You know, I think it's shocking. There was always like a little hope I had inside me that justice might prevail. I saw the latest thing that said he wasn't actually served his injunction. So it was emailed to him. He didn't even have the injunction served to him. So it really shouldn't have stood up. And everyone, you know, especially now, it's more important to ever that you have to go and watch his documentary Silenced, which is what he put out. And I know it was against the orders, but it was really necessary, I think, for people to understand the corruption and the money spent covering up the truth of what happened in the case. So he's put out this documentary, and I think you know, everyone, especially now, needs to go and watch it. But actually, he hadn't actually been served this injunction. And of course, he wasn't tried in front of a jury. It was just a judge who made the decision. So it should be in front of his peers, I think, you know, for real justice, but it wasn't. It was another it was just another judge who then actually put him in jail with a Southport killer, locked him up in the same prison as a guy that's murdered 3 innocent kids and stabbed other
Allegedly.
people.
Allegedly, yeah.
Yes,
I mean, look,
allegedly.
you're absolutely right. And I mean, look, I was in court on Monday, and the judge actually made a point of saying that the fact that he hadn't been served properly wasn't actually that much of a bigger deal. Well, really? I mean, like, is this the law, or does it only apply to Tommy? I mean, how important is it now that people start to step forward? I don't know where you are politically, Leilani. Where do you stand politically right now? Party-wise?
Well, I always used to be very much in the middle, and all of a sudden, the left really moved far left. So then I became what people would call far right. I mean, I've become, all these names. I'm this far right person, this granny killer, this Islamophobe, whatever, they throw all these names. I'm a racist, all the rest of it. It just goes over my head now because it's all absolute nonsense. So then they say I was, far right, but the Conservatives absolutely screwed us for the last few years. I absolutely despise Labour. So then I was like, well, what is there? There's reform. But obviously, as we know, Richard Tice just came out and kind of dismissed Tommy.
You're not one of that lot, are you? You're one of that lot, aren't you? That's what it is.
So that's the thing. I'm one of that lot. So now where do I stand? Where do I stand? And Richard Tice came out when it all came out. The Southport, the alleged Southport killer had allegedly got this Al Qaeda handbook and was making ricin. When that came out, he obviously wanted to ask questions, and it was at that point I thought, well, you know what? Why don't you actually watch Tommy's documentary and see the levels of deceit and covering up? And
that's a great question.
Corruption.
I wonder if they have. I wonder if they've even bothered to sit down and watch it. I wonder. That'd be interesting to know. It's a great question. I mean, the thing is, I think a lot of people right now are feeling a little bit politically homeless again because, like you, I mean, we campaigned for reform before the election. And we just feel now, I think many of us just feel now that we're just kind of being, I mean, to describe us as that lot. Now, that lot are your voters.
Right.
I don't know what was on his mind, to be honest.
I'd say most people, I think, that attended or have attended Tommy's rallies, as you've said, every time it's been peaceful, no violence, just an amazing atmosphere. Every time I would assume that most of those people voted for reform. So, like you said, where does it leave us? It's a mess. It's a mess, and it
is. I think the media. I think the media live deliberately, mind you, but I think the media like to live in the past. I mean, they still talk about Tommy in his early days with the EDL, which was shut and disbanded 11 years ago, closed because Tommy himself didn't like the fact that it was slowly being infiltrated by the genuine far right.
Yeah.
So he did the right thing. He said, he walked away, said, don't want to have anything to do with this. There are people in it now that I don't approve of. I'm walking away. But yet the media still try to live in the past, and they cannot open their eyes and see that as a man, he is matured. He's a lot older now. He's 42 coming up soon this month. He's matured as an individual. His views have mellowed slightly, although his message has always been the same. But they cannot leave it alone, can they? They won't leave it alone.
They won't leave it alone. They won't just go into and discuss the actual truth. And the sad thing is, people that actually have bad things to say about Tommy have never actually sat down and really listened. And I mean, really listened. They want to take a few sound bites from here, there, and everywhere, and just go, oh, but look at this and look at, and it's like, no, if you actually look at what he's done, how he's fought against the real far right people at his rallies, like you said, disbanded the EDL. If you actually look at what he's done, he's a very good person, I think, who really truly cares about this country and cares about the young people in this country and just wants to see the best of it. And like I said, I just don't think people they don't want to hear anything good about him. So they, specifically will close their minds off and just, pick up a few little tidbits from here and then. If you go to the rallies, you'll see there's, Sikhs there, there's Black people there, Asian people there, me, half Filipino, are there Iranian people there? There's a lot of other, it's not just all white people there. And even if it was, they're all patriots, they all love this country, they all want the best for it. And I just think it's really sad when people are so fixated on little sound bites from here and there of Tommy's past.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've said this before. I've only been in and around this movement for just under a year after spending years in business, looking at the movement from afar, but not daring to touch it through fear of having my business ruined, having my reputation ruined. But it got to the point where I thought, look, if I don't stand up now for my family and for my children, it's going to be too late. But there was a but. And the but is that if I found any genuine form of racism or any genuine, what I would call hatred of Muslims for no other reason than the fact that they were a different religion to us, I would walk away. And I've got to tell you, I have found none. In fact, what I've found is the complete opposite. I found an absolute willingness and a want to welcome people from all backgrounds, as long as they're happy to live in this country peacefully and get on with each other. And I'm actually I wish I'd have done it earlier.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And that's what I've seen as well. But I think it is hard because, as you said, there are people that will go after you and attack your business and attack your life and cause all sorts of trouble. I mean, the whole thing, if people actually listen to his charges for mortgage fraud, it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. Back from the days when it was a self-certification mortgage, do you know how many people I know that, might have elevated things a tiny little bit? And it's like the Trump situation where he'd taken out a loan and the loan had already been paid back. That's the craziest thing. The loan had already been paid. He didn't default on it. He didn't refuse to pay it. The loan had been paid back. And they just,
it's obscene. It's obscene. And you're absolutely right. I mean, you want to be my age. When I got my first mortgage, my bank manager filled my mortgage application with completely incorrect info because that is what I needed to get a mortgage. I mean, listen, back in the day, young people could buy a property, right? Nowadays, it's impossible. And again, this Labour government just right now, again, absolutely hammering our youngsters trying to get their foot on the ladder.
I know they've done it. They've raised the stamp duty for first-time buyers. So it's like they say one thing, but they're talking out their arse because, now they're raising stamp duty for first-time home buyers. So all these buildings they want to build, what are they actually for? Are they for the young British people that want to get on the property ladder? Or are they now just to house illegals? And it seems to me there's an attack on everything from both sides. So it used to be, it was accommodation for a while. Let's go and attack all the small landlords. Let's turn everybody against the little landlords. When I say little landlord, I'm talking about, say, somebody who owns a house, moved in with their partner, decides to rent the house out. So they're going to attack those kinds of people who actually care about their house because it was their first home, who care about the street because they used to live there. They're going to attack those, push all of those people out with all the regulations and fees and whatnot. And what's that going to do? It's going to leave this vacuum for all these investment companies and institutions and banks to come and buy all the property, own it all. Or you've got the landlords that go, oh, I can't deal with all of this anymore. It's too difficult. Let me rent it out to, say, Serco. Now, Serco are funded by the government. They're giving landlords like 5-year contracts, no break clause, meaning that they get paid without
whatever.
a doubt, whatever. If it's empty for a minute, they still get paid. And they'll fix and maintain it. There's no estate agent fees. And so then what happens? Then Serco put all their illegal asylum seekers into it with tax money. And what does that do for the British people? So that's continuing through Labour. Now we've got an attack on our food because, you know, we're being attacked through the farms. And, you know, if it's very easy, people don't understand the difference between assets and cash. And, you know, they think all these farmers are rich because they're sitting on land, but they can't do anything with the land other than farm it, because if they sell it, they're going to have to pay capital gains tax. So what they do is they keep it and they pass it on to their kids to farm. Yeah. So it's not just the land, it will be the machinery and, you know, a combine harvester worth of fortune. But all of this stuff is just to farm, make our food for us. The most important thing that we need, our a basic fundamental staple to make our food. And now they want to, you know, they want to mess with the farmers and take from them. So again, you know, Labour's so obsessed with building houses and wind farms and solar farms that they can't get the land from the farmers.
Exactly.
So now they steal the farmland from the farmers because the farmers basically have to sell in order to pay the tax. So the farmers will have to sell their land, and then I can guarantee you that these wind farms, solar farms, and housing estates will just, the planning permission
will pop up.
We'll just go like that, because it's all the government's buddies that are going to be buying it up.
But the government are fighting about, because I tell you what, you know, as the old saying goes, no farmers, no food. And I do not believe that our farmers are going to stand by and watch this happen. They're not going to take it laying down. And I think there's big trouble for this Labour government down the road, and not too far away, I don't think.
I do think there's actually a protest outside 10 Downing Street on the 19th of November. So that's the rumour I've heard. If it happens, I will absolutely be there. And people say, why do you care about British farming? It's like, well, hello, we all eat. We all eat, you know.
They soon care when there's no food on the table.
Absolutely. And we can't just keep importing it in and relying on, you know, imports. So it's really important, I think, to back the farmers, because it's an attack on our, you know, our water with all the privatization. It's attack on shelter, accommodation by the, you know, the new stamp duty and, like, you know, these big investment companies buying up rental property. And it's, you know, it's an attack on our food with our farmers.
Final question for now, I mean, you've already lived abroad once, and my wife, I've got to be honest with you, she wants to get out. She's had enough. She can't take anymore. One of my daughters has already, sadly, made arrangements to move in the new year, so we're going to lose her to another country. She wants to get my granddaughter out for safety reasons. Would you ever consider leaving again, or are you here now for the long term?
Well, I've got to say, because I have horses, it's really hard. My horses are here. Moving horses is an absolute nightmare. But my fiance doesn't live here, and he won't come back and move back to England. He lives in America majority of the time, 3/4 of the year, because of, you know, the tax situation. It's stupid for him to be here. So I spend a lot of time in America anyway. And I think I'll definitely be spending even more time over there. I don't think I can 100% be there, but there's no reason why I can't be there more. It sounds silly, actually. Dogs are harder to look after than horses. So, and my dogs are 17, so I don't think they'll be around for a long time. So let's say in a 5-year plan, if Trump gets in, I will definitely be in America a lot more. For sure, 100%.
Leilani, thanks so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm sure the viewers will enjoy it. Let's look forward to a Trump victory, hopefully.
Fingers crossed. Thanks for having me on, Paul. Thank you.
A pleasure.
Cheers.